Hey guys, it's Tomatoda. Welcome back to my crafting vlog series where I tackled old neglected projects so I can finally, not have things just set aside for years to come. I know it's been a long time since I've done one of these, but I haven't forgotten this. I'm still doing it. Today, I will not be picking a random craft. I'm gonna pick the one that I want to do today. I know, I cheat so much with this because it's supposed to be random, but it's really hard to be motivated when you know there's a project in the box that's waiting for you that's like the worst thing ever. I mean, it's probably not the worst thing ever, but just like, however, my reasoning this time for cheating is that I have an event happening next weekend. So today's Friday, not this weekend, but the weekend after that. It's called Free Comic Book Day, and I've never been to one and I don't exactly know what it is, but my friend who recommended me to do this, she told me it's like a nationwide event and it's local, which is always the best part. Okay, so I should have probably looked this up before, but Free Comic Book Day is a North American event where over 2,000 participating stores give away millions of comic books annually. So, next year, if you guys want to check it out, look at your local comic book store and see if they participate in Free Comic Book Day. For today's project, what I wanted to do is project number 9. I'm gonna stick it to my box and then also finish up project number 23. If you remember, this was like the first one I ever did and it ended up failing. So I put it back in the box to do later, but I think while I'm doing project number 9, it would be great timing to do number 23 too, because I have to sand a lot and why not do it all at once? I bought this heart mold that I thought was really cute. I had this vision in my mind, but when I did the pour, it didn't quite come out as my vision. But here is the 2 types of hearts. I wanted to be more gradient-like, but that I just sucked. I'm gonna make these into earrings. And then also with the leftover pours, I bought this other mold that had splatter stuff. And I thought these would be kind of cool earrings as well. Here's a heart one. But I don't know if you could tell, the main reason why I put this project aside is because of the sanding. And I hate sanding so much just because I think it's the mess that it makes, the small little microplastic particles everywhere in your face. That's why this time I made a sanding box. I first saw this glass crafter use one because you have to shave off the glass pieces when you do stainless glass things, and you don't want the shards going everywhere, so they have this container with a sander inside and you just wet sand it, blah blah blah. And I thought that would be kind of good for what I'm doing today. However, I didn't want the sanding box to be huge. I just wanted something small for my space. And since my projects are also small, there's no reason for me to go big. That's what she said. And I also have small hands, so hopefully it works out. I cut holes into these using heat tool. I don't know what it's called, but it's for woodworking, I believe. It heats up, and I use this actually for my plastic things to just cut around. And then for the top, I'm planning on putting saran wrap maybe. We'll see. Oh, fuck. The lid that this container came with is a solid red, so there's no way I would be able to see through it. And then the other side is frosted, so fuck that shit. It's kind of weird how sometimes cling wrap clings and then sometimes it doesn't cling. I don't know if it's because I'm just doing it wrong. I'm gonna sand the edges first because they are a bit sharp and I don't want my stuff hurting people as much as possible. Oh gosh, it's a bit uncomfortable. Oh man. So the reason why I didn't put gloves in here and made it more legit is because I wasn't sure if I would like this contraption. If I do, I'll make a more legit one in the future. But for now, this is a temporary testing phase. So I finished my first batch and I actually love how it contains all the dust in here, but I will say that it is a bit uncomfortable So for my left hand, it's actually perfectly fine. I just, you know, hold it down here, but my right hand kind of has to go higher, and it doesn't like being in all the way. It just, you know, stays here and it goes a little bit higher, so it tilts everything. It still functions pretty well, and the thing is I can like move this closer or farther however I feel like. I finished, and I don't know if you can see, but look at all that dust. And look at how clean my space is. So this worked perfectly. I'm gonna take the bits out so that I can at least wash these. My hand did start cramping towards the end, but honestly, I'd rather deal with cramping rather than this dust flying everywhere. Okay, BRB. So I want these to be stud earrings. I guess I'm running low. I didn't even realize. I have to use this, but these are like, it's to hang something. It's fine, I'll still use these. Then I'm going to mark each one, basically where I want the stud to go. I mean, I know this is probably like a no-brainer, but I think it's just a little extra step that'll help me be more accurate. I'm just sanding enough to scratch the surface to create friction for the glue to hold on later. Before I sand the metal studs, I'm actually going to empty this out and replace the plastic because this saran wrap has dust on it and it's getting really hazy, so it's harder to see through. I'm gonna switch to this one for the metal. Someone's fire alarm is going off. But while I am sanding metal, I'm gonna sand these too. These did not stick very well because I didn't prep as well. The back is paint, so I'm gonna have to sand it and then dome it with resin again, and then sand it, and then sand this, and then glue it. I've created another mess. But now I'm going to wash everything in soap, and then I have to go soon. So I'll glue everything once I come back. And it's raining pretty hard outside, so whoever's fire alarm went off, if it was a real fire, I guess you're in luck. You got nature's fire extinguisher. Come get your trinkets. Come get your trinkets here. It is now almost 9. I got back home, ate dinner, took a shower, and now I'm like ready for bed. But I do want to glue it. Now I just have to separate all this shit and all that shit and all my shit and all your shit. My new album's dropping tomorrow. It's called Shit. I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm like really tired. Sorry. With these, I do have to clean the back sides or the sanded parts with acetone just to ensure it's grease free, because, well, first of all, I have that permanent marker on here, and second of all, I don't want another Gudetama ring incident. I want to make sure this is one and done. Do things properly the first time so you don't have to do them again. I'm going to do 6 at a time because you're supposed to wait like a minute or two before you add them together. Oh, maybe that was too much. 2 hours later, and I finished gluing everything. Unfortunately, this is not my cleanest work. As you can see, the glue very prominently in the back, but I am prioritizing a strong bond over the aesthetics. As long as the front looks good, that's all that matters, right? I do wish it did look good, but I'm a little bit traumatized from the Gudetamas. I know the Gudetamas were prep error, but still, I'm traumatized. Anyways, I'm gonna wait a few days and test them out, and please wish me luck. I think these are finally done. They seem to be on sturdy, no signs of coming off. I'm gonna have to clean them up. I'm filming.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
See how these white ones, they're like hard as fuck now? They like expire or something, so that sucks. But I prefer to use these ones because they don't expire and harden. And they're kind of cute because they're like flower shaped. And then I have these type of earring backings for bigger ones because if I use the small ones, they will droop on the ear, but if you use a bigger wide type of earring backing, it holds it in shape like this. I'm not saying this is going to actually keep it clean, but hey, it's one step cleaner, right? You know how it is. Everything we do it big.
So I finished the earrings and I do really like how they came out. That same evening, I was planning on working on the Gudetama rings, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I was extremely unmotivated and I just kind of thought it would be best if I just rested. But really what I was doing was wallowing in bed, feeling like a pathetic loser. And that's because the Gudetama project is like almost done. Nothing is physically stopping me, and I have all the time in the world, or I have a whole week, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And so that evening, you know, I had a lot of negative thoughts in my head. And then I started telling myself, like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I wasting resources and wasting time? What good does this do for anybody, really? And ultimately, I was like, you know, I should just give up. I should just get a real job and work for a real company instead of doing this shit. So it's been like 5 days since Sunday, but I still have those thoughts. Nothing bad has happened in my life. I think it's just the lack of sunlight that I've been getting. So it's like seasonal depression, even though it's like spring. And the weather's been especially bad the past few weeks. My doctor told me, as someone who lived majority of their life in Southern California, sunny Southern California, people who live most of their life in a sunny environment need more vitamin D than the average person. But as an introvert who's spent a lot of time indoors, I'm like, how much sunlight did I really get in California anyways? But I guess I did get a lot more than I am getting here, so it affects me greatly. Because we did a blood test and it showed that I had severe vitamin D deficiency. I don't know if this makes it worse. I have noticed that, you know, throughout my life, for some reason, I am more susceptible to depression to begin with. Looking back though, I realized I had a depression sentence. Like, this particular sentence indicates that I'm depressed. So currently, like I said before, I need to get a real job is my depression identifying sentence. Back in my 20s, I realized that my depression identifying sentence was, I should jump in front of that train. I thought that like almost every day coming home back from work. But it's crazy because I never will. I know I never will. I say it, but I won't do it, okay? It's just hard to keep those thoughts out of my head. It just occupies my mind. And I am ashamed that those thoughts are in my head. Kind of the same goes for here right now. My depression identifying sentence is, I should get a real job. And when I really think about it, that's insane. It's so fucking insane. Because I know for a fact, getting a real job will end up in depression too. And right now, I work at home as a stay-at-home princess. Like, I am so blessed to live this life right now of doing whatever I want, whenever I want, without judgment. Or without caring about judgment. Because if you judge me, you're just fucking jealous of me. I'm just kidding. You know, people have their own different opinions. It's fine. And I'm not saying like we're loaded. We're not freaking rich or anything. But, you know, we are just really blessed to be able to live, or I am blessed to be able to live this life solely on my husband's income. I don't make a lot of money. I actually don't make profit, to be honest. So everything I do is just for fun. And that is like the life, isn't it? That is luxury. That's why I'm saying it's like so insane that I have these thoughts of get a real job. It's a lot toned down from, you know, the thoughts I had in my 20s, but I don't know, it's kind of, I can't help feeling the way I feel for whatever reason it is. And I know I'm currently feeling like this because it is a vitamin D deficiency. So it's not like a serious problem. But then that also makes me feel guilty because like, there's nothing going on. Why are you sad? People have it way worse than you. Yes, I know. That's why I'm trying not to be sad. But Like I keep saying, I just can't help it. Anyways, actually, going back onto my vitamin D deficiency, my doctor did prescribe me like strong vitamin D medication, and it did help for a while. But then after that ran out, she told me to just take over the counter. And I bought the strongest over the counter vitamin Ds, and it does help, but I don't think it, well, obviously it doesn't do enough, right? I take the recommended dose on the bottle. I don't take more than what it says because I do have a fear of overdosing. When I was 20 or 21, I had a cousin who overdosed on laxatives, and she ripped her butthole open. Or, I mean, that's how we describe it, but basically she pooed so hard that she gave herself severe hemorrhoids or something. So she had to get an emergency hemorrhoid surgery that day. And I went to go see her at the hospital, and she didn't show me her butthole, so I don't even know what a severe hemorrhoid due to laxative overdose would look like. But that story itself scared the shit out of me. So I like to play it safe with my medication, and I am taking vitamin D. It's just not doing enough, I think. But because of, you know, the way I'm feeling, I tend to not get a lot of stuff done. That also kind of furthers my sadness because I have a whole checklist of what I want to get done in a day, and it's definitely plausible during a good day. But when it's a bad day, like maybe just a quarter of it gets done, and then by the end of the day, I just question my whole life. But I will say that being able to identify that you are depressed does help with the cope a lot more, because then you understand it'll be over someday. You see a little bit of silver lining. You know, you've been through this before. It'll be okay someday. And I'm really hoping that the event tomorrow will lift my spirits up because it is outdoors. Our table setup is going to be in front of the store, like on the sidewalk. And on top of that, I will be visiting California next week for a wedding. I'm anticipating that will be my medicine. But I guess I just wanted to kind of give an excuse or an explanation as to why I'm not going to finish the Gudetama rings again. I just can't bring myself to do it. On Saturday morning, the event started at 8 a.m., so we got there earlier to set up, and it was raining. There was a line in front of the shop before they even opened, and by 8:15 a.m., it was bustling inside the store, which was interesting. So I guess this free comic book day thing is a bigger deal than I knew it was. Unfortunately, it actually ended up raining like pretty much the entire day, and for some reason, there were bubbles on the ground. I obviously didn't get my natural vitamin D that day, but it wasn't too bad because a lot of my time was talking to my friend Mimosa Studio and other people like customers and just people walking by, which was honestly really fun, and it took my mind off of the sadness. However, when I had quiet time to myself, the dark thoughts immediately came back in, and I kept thinking I should just quit everything, but thankfully those thoughts were only brief because they were constantly being interrupted by all the wonderful people I talked to, and I'm really grateful for that. The shop owners and workers were also really sweet and kind. They kept checking in on us throughout the day. They bought us pizza for lunch, and they even offered boba, but I already had my caffeine, so I had to decline. But how freaking sweet is that? Like, amazing hospitality. By the end of the day, though, my papers were warped from the rain and humidity, but I think it's a sign for me to revamp my setup this year. And I also want to give a special shout out to my husband for just being so supportive and encouraging me to continue what makes me happy. It really means a lot, and hopefully next time I make a video, I'll be in a better mood for you guys. But I really appreciate all of you and your support. So thank you guys for watching, and stay strong. See you guys later. Bye.